Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another reaction. Today we have Shin Megami Tensei 4. I know of Shin Megami Tensei, but of course, Door Jesus and the executive producers is the one who requested this and gave me a little bit of info on when this song plays. I've heard this song by name, never heard the song. I've seen so many people glaze this track, honestly, over the years, so I'm not really a stranger to what it is, and I also do know what Shin Megami Tensei is, so I'm very much in the know here, but either way, I have to hear what this song is finally, after however long of somehow avoiding it myself. So without further ado, let's go! The thing is, despite knowing Mega 10, I don't know the music at all. It's very weird for me, because usually it's the other way around. I hear music first. Ooh. Okay, it's got kind of like a retro vibe going for it. I'm very much into that. Somehow, this isn't at all the sound I would have expected. It's kind of floating around in that, like, early 2000s Frutiger Arrow sort of general music vibe they were going for at that time. I don't know if there was any genre specifically that this would fit in. There probably is, but that's a very specific window of time and a very specific sound. And specifically, Japan's version of that time. Hyper specific. And it's just kind of a vibe, really. It really is, like... A lot of Frutiger Arrow-esque stuff to me sounds like a beach. This sounds like a city. This sounds like an abandoned city at night. Which fits exactly what Tokyo would be like in this universe. God, that's weird. Like, the more I heard of it, the more it made sense from the info I do know about Mega 10. It's very weird how little I know about it for as much as I know about it. I don't know how to explain how I ended up knowing what Shin Megami Tensei was and like having decent amounts of information on it as a subject, but never having actually experienced it before, you know? Very strange. All right, this song's composition is pretty intriguing for basically one reason. I mean, the rest of the sound design and everything is cool, but the composition is what I'm talking about here. It's cool because it never ends. It's endless. It's looping forever. It's eternal. It just keeps going. And the reason that this happens is really fun to me. So we start out in what is more often than not A minor. We just kind of get that bounce, and then we go E, and then, or E minor, and then G, and then this B minor. That's interesting because we're ending on this high. And that's where the loop of those chords ends, and then we go back down to, which is a continuation. However, sometimes we don't do that. We go back down to the A and not the A minor, which is cool and different for this reason, because we're starting here on A minor, and then if we climb up and then land on the A, we're obviously changing where that final A hits. It's not the A minor, it's the A, but both of them work between these connecting chords here. So like everything you do will be correct no matter what you do. And whether or not you want the song to end and feel like it's moving on, which this does, it fully ends in a resolution, or not, and you want it to loop back around, you have this, because this will not perfectly go back up into the B minor with how it flows, but it does go up from the A into the B minor. So it's just this. This is what makes it interesting. The fact that no matter what you do with these three, you could do whatever you want with this connection. You will always have the open and available opportunity to go back down to the E minor and up to the G. Because an E minor is an obviously minor chord brought up into a major chord, and that is demanding the song to move up into something. And the fact that this is another minor chord sitting up here, letting us dangle somewhere, we can go back down to another minor, which does not allow the song to end naturally, but if we end on the A, it does. There's something about the way that the A, being a major chord, resolves the minor, similar to how the E minor going into the G makes that feel the same way. It's the same situation where if you start in the G minor here and then you want to move that up, you could go down into the E minor or into the E in order to make it feel like it's finishing something. This relationship always feels like it's resolving something because we're going from a minor to a major or major to a minor. It's just the way that these work. A major of a G into a minor of a B is not going to feel like it's settling on anything, but going from the G, skipping the B entirely, and going into an A does. This is just how this works. So trading that out as needed throughout the song in order to direct the song in the right direction wherever you're needing to go, however long you want the song to go, if you want it to move into a different function of the song, if you want the song to change at all, or if you want to keep it very samey, you could just do that. Keep it bouncing between the minor and the full, or the minor and the minor, and then it'll always bring itself back down and allow itself to cycle back, because you always have this grounding function of the G in there. And not to mention that a lot of the E seems to be E minor 7th, which hooks perfectly, if you couldn't tell, into the G. So it's this weird like double chord situation where the E minor 7th would just go obviously perfectly into the G, and it just kind of feels like it's removing a little bit of the low end before it continues on forward. So this is the situation that we have with this song. It feels like it's endless because no matter what you do to these chords, they are going to perfectly gel into each other every single time. I also feel like the song is in the key of D, which is weird because we don't really use D at all in this song, at least not the chords specifically. We obviously have the note D in some of these triads, but that's kind of neither here nor there. The song itself being in D means that this could go somewhere, but D and A work beautifully together. So if you were to play these two together, that's the jazziness that you are gifted. It is so perfect to work off each other, given one starts in the A and works its way up to the E above, and the other uses the A as the top note and just allows for this continuation of this chord. And this is where the song feels like it just solidifies itself to me. It doesn't, again, do that in this song at all, but damn if it isn't beautiful. I love that jazziness that those chords bring when they're meshed together like that, but it's so pretty and so cool that this song has all of these directions it can take if it wants to. But it feels so wrong when it doesn't, because it knows that it needs to bring you back around, versus which feels so much more secure, like you know that you're safe now. And I think that's the dichotomy that this is trying to do, given the context of Shin Megami Tensei, and probably overthinking it, honestly, in that front, but at any point, the song could feel like it's resolving to something that's more happy and secure, or something that is a little bit less secure and has this nasty note in here that's breaking everything up somewhere between. But I think that's about all I gotta say on this one. It is a beautiful song. I see why so many people have talked about the vibe of this one, which is weird because I had to look up when this game was made, and it was apparently 2013. So that's way too late for this sound to be like new. Like, this is something that, again, you would hear in like maybe the late 90s, early 2000s. This is not something that is too commonly used in games even a decade ago. So it's like, why were they going for that? Maybe they were going specifically for what Shin Megami Tensei's like whole vibe is, or maybe keeping it in the era where the original games came out and it was kind of trying to harken back to that. Whatever the case may be, I'm really glad that they kept this vibe alive, because this sound, the sound font even that they used, feels a little bit dated, which works really well for me in getting that energy together and just making it feel a little bit weird in the way that it's like, it's secure, it's familiar, but also dreamlike and nostalgic in a strange way. And I feel like that works so well for Shin Megami Tensei, given the setting that they're in, what they're doing with the whole post-apocalyptic situation. It just feels right to have a song that feels like it's locked between generations and not really settling on one specific sound. It's modern enough to feel like it's new and not necessarily old or tired, but at the same time, there is an innate quality to how they made the song that makes it feel that way, and you can't really place it. And that does a really good job of just setting you in this mindset of not being sure where you are, when you are, or how you're going to be. Same thing with the song. It's endless and never letting you really have reprieve from that. And when you do feel like there is with that A in there, you're never entirely sure if that's the end of the whole story or if you're going to be right back at square one. So they did a really good job with this one. I love this composition. I see why so many people have been hyping it for so long. And I suppose that's about all I got to say on this one. So thank you all so very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want me to get to something else, by all means, drop it in the comments below and I will do my best as always to get to those. Or if you want to guarantee something, much like Dora Jesus did for this one, you can always go to my Patreon and guarantee something there in the executive producer queue. It doesn't matter what it's from, who it's by, if it's good or bad, none of that matters. That's why it's a guarantee. But if you don't want to do any of that, maybe just want to follow me and support me for more stuff coming in the future, you know how to do all that. And I'll see all of you in the next video. Goodbye.